very much with the Hall of Famer Reggie Miller, Kevin Harlan. What are you expecting tonight from Joel Embiid? How winded will he be those first 2 or 3 minutes up and down the floor? But if you're seeing Harden, your mission stays the same, my friend. Be aggressive. He set tone for Philly in that first quarter. 7 of 10 field goals, 16 points. Absolutely sensational. For the Celtics, Tatum and Brown, they combined for 62 points. As a team, Boston, they shot 59% for the game.
What's going on, everybody? John out here with you. I'm going to be joined by Nick Edwards here momentarily. It is the Sixers. It is the Celtics. Again, Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller on Team T alongside the NBA crew on that end. John out here with him, the play-by-play, being joined by Nick Edwards for the color side as we'll take in Game 2 of this Eastern Conference semifinals. So just to quickly recap, in Game 1 it was 119-115. And it's the starting lineups: Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and James Harden, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Al Horford, Derek White, and Marcus Smart. You want to take those from right to left across. They always kind of mix it up on the TNT side. But a 119-115 win. Boston took a 38-31 lead in the first quarter, and then Philadelphia just kind of pecked away at that until they took it between the second, third, and fourth. So it was a close game. But the one thing you got to keep in mind of on this side is Philadelphia. They won the turnover battle 16-8. They won the steal battle 10-3. So if Boston can do a better job of taking care of the basketball, you might think they'll be in a good situation for this. So winning the tip was Joel Embiid, and now we're going to get a very obscure inside camera angle as it's James Harden against Derek White. Now Tyrese Maxey against Jaylen Brown is wearing that face mask. It's Embiid. He's missed the last 2 games with the knee. Good ball movement across. This is Tobias Harris. And this is a shot from 14 that's knocked down by Tobias, the former Piston. And this is a 2-0 lead for the Philadelphia 76ers, as Tatum has it now. Brown, top of the key three with a big hand of Joel Embiid. And that didn't matter for the masked man as Jaylen Brown knocks it down. The Celtics take a 3-2 lead with 11:15 left to go in the first. As this is probing for Harden, it's going to live to Embiid. This is a long mid-range chance, and this is deflected by PJ Tucker, but it'll be in the hands of Marcus Smart. We'll have to go right to left. Al Horford, no hesitation, left wing, missed it up the back end of the rim, and this will be James Harden now for Tyrese Maxey, left to right. And the Sixers, and the all-white is Maxey cans the three. So Charles Barkley said no on the 2+3s. Well, Maxey's already got one, and it's 5-3. Here's Brown. Smart. He could have taken the mid-range chance, and now he put himself in no man's land. It's Derek White down the lane over Embiid. A little bit too short on that one, and Marcus Smart definitely should have shot that basketball as it's Harden slowly. And Maxey walking into a three again, and this is too strong off the top of the rim and getting right back from Horford to Tatum. Tatum was excellent in game 1, and so was Jaylen Brown. You couldn't imagine the two playing much better as Tatum missed the three from a gift from Horford. And it's 10-15 left to go in the first as Harden's got it now. Trying to get around Brown. Gets down the lane off the Euro step. And a good cancel there by Tatum. And I think this is going to be last touched off Harden. So Tatum just stepped through. He took the contact. Harden wanted the call. He's not going to get it as it's Brown on the right wing side. Trying to cross over, dribble around. Tobias Harris splits it. Gets down the lane and lays it in. Jaylen Brown with a quick 5 points. 5-5 is the score line, so Brown is certainly off and running here. Maxey now. Got it at the C's logo, gets her on a screen on the right wing side, and Embiid was trying to set it. Now he backs out against Derek White. Here's a bounce pass to Tobias Harris. He just starts his dribble now. As the shot clock's down to 4, he's going to have to force something. A jump pass, easily read by Tatum. It's 1-on-4. Here's a bullet pass from Tatum to White. Too strong off the front of the rim. PJ Tucker was the lone rebounder. He's going to pick this one up now. So Tucker, here from Harden. It's still a 5-5 game, about 9:20. An entry pass gets knocked away, but Maxey will pick it up into the right wing side. And now it's Embiid, but he's way away from the elbow. Bullet pass, PJ Tucker. Extra ball movement. Harris, a couple of jab steps. Tries to get down the middle of the lane over Derek White with the floater, and he missed it. Marcus Smart will get the rebound. Going to go right to left in between the legs, trying to get down the lane. Great defense by Embiid. Even with a knee injury or not, he just walks all the way up and just blocks. And Tyrese Maxey gets swatted by Horford. Big men getting the job done here. As it's Tatum. Bounce pass. Horford could walk right into it. Tatum now against the smaller Maxey. Is he going to look to post him up? Gets down the lane off with a spin. and then he runs into Embiid and gets taken down. 5-5 still the scoring line with 8:41 left to go in the first. So I'm going to pull up this box, and then I'm also going to duplicate it here on the ESPN side just to give the play-by-play, just in case there's any fouls or anything else that come across, as this is set. Horford for three. This is off the front of the rim, and this bounces out of bounds, so this will be a turnover against the C's. This will be Philadelphia basketball. So they have a 1-0 series lead against Boston. And Philadelphia has been unblemished right now in the playoffs. They swept the Brooklyn Nets pretty handily, and they have a 5-0 record in the playoffs. As Harden had it knocked away, but he got there first before Jaylen Brown. And now Harden with the offhand, nice pocket pass to Embiid, and he set that up right into a foul. So Dragic will go to the line to shoot two. Should be in the act of shooting for the MVP. Almost dropped the recorder, as it's a chance for Embiid. And let me look at his numbers as he won the MVP. It was 33 points per game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, about 1.5 blocks. Yeah, 1.7. And that was just the regular season numbers where he stopped Nikola Jokic from getting 3 in a row. And you can very argue on that side. It's voter fatigue, but also for Embiid, very well deserved. So you're not going to get any argument from me. But some will say that on that side, then Giannis was the third place vote getter. As Embiid, he's got the brace on the left leg on the side of the knee. And for Embiid also at the free throw line, he's about a guy that's about 80%. So very well for the Kansas Jayhawk product. I know my broadcast partner, Nick Edwards, if he does join in, always talks about the growth of him from the college game. Didn't know if he expected Embiid to turn into this, but, I mean, he just looks like one of the best big men playing the NBA. I mean, it's that simple. He can do it all. As it's near the right wing side, it's Smart trying to get around Tobias Harris, and now it's Brown against Harden. Brown lost the dribble. Here's some extra ball movement for Tatum. It's Tatum on Embiid, and still trying to drive and scores! Jayson Tatum off the window, and that was between Embiid and Harris, and they'll go to the line for an and one opportunity. So Tatum gets a little bit of a push off with the offhand, and then just blows right by Embiid and Harden. Hits it off the window, gets the contact, the harm, and the foul. And it's going to be an and one opportunity for Tatum. And Tatum, again, when you talk about some of the situations for the Celtics, in terms of getting the draft right, absolutely nailed that when they moved down and still able to select Tatum several years ago. When you think about this core now between Tatum and Brown, they've been together about 6 or 7 years. I know the Celtics fans want to talk about being in the finals last year, losing to the Warriors, but they want this title. They feel that they can do this with this core as Embiid falls down. This will go to Maxey. Tobias Harris wide open, too wide off the front of the rim. It's just a massive humanity for the basketball, and Marcus Smart will locate it amongst the redwood trees. There's a chance for White, right wing side. It's off the front of the rim. Celtics very cold shooting the tray ball right now as PJ Tucker is kind of shaking off a little bit of rust there as he ran into a player. And I'm going to get Nick in here right now as this is James Harden off the dribble. We'll get down the lane, miss off the front of the rim, but he will draw the foul to the dismay of the Celtics crowd. So we'll try to make it a 9-8 game. And we'll get Nick in here right now. So he's going to follow along here between this game, game 2, the Celtics and the 76ers. And this will be a chance for Harden. Try to make it 9-8. Again, James Harden in the last game was absolutely terrific on that end. We should be good on that side for Nick as I got him in as a co-host. How are you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm a little disappointed. I saw when you first tweeted this out that it was like 7:15. And I saw the game was starting at 7. I was like, okay, they're probably going to 10 minutes of pregame or whatever. We're already 5 minutes in.
No, it was that side where I join in usually just before the tip-in side. I was trying to make everybody know on that, but I put the tweet out there a couple hours beforehand to see if it gets any traction. So Harden splits the free throws, and it's 8-8, 7-10 left to go in the first. Tatum with the offhand trying to get around and beat again. He'll step through, and he'll draw the foul. This one should be going up against Tucker.
Do we have any notable fouls?
Tucker's got one, and Embiid's got one. Tatum had a play where he stepped right through, got the harm against Embiid and Harden, and he's going to go to the line and shoot 2 more. So Nothing crazy yet. The only thing we can say right now is Boston's pretty cold from the three-point range right now. As it's 7:09 in the first. Tatum makes the first free throw. So I know you said this, Nick, on this side, you're pretty concerned about what's going on here in game two. You're thinking if the Celtics go down two, this might be a situation that could be too difficult to come back from. And when I'm looking in some of the notes on that side, and even look at the roster construction, I know you don't go deep in the playoffs, but I feel like even Philadelphia on the back end has the better roster. And Boston knows this is who they got to get through because I think if they do beat Philadelphia, they will go to the finals. But they need to get this game too, don't they?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a must win, whatever you want to call it for any of your sports. This is your game seven. If they don't win this game, the series is probably done. And we can say, yeah, the Warriors beat the Kings when they were down 0-2. Very different environment. Home court teams each side. Nice play there by PJ to get another play for their team. But yeah, no, it's going to be seriously an issue. I would agree with you. If you give me their 8 guys and our Celtics 8 guys, there's a clear, distinct advantage for Philadelphia. The Celtics might have 2 superstars,
Right.
but if James Harden continues to play the way he is, and they have the MVP and a superstar, really what I'm concerned with, in other words, this break, is I'm concerned that the Celtics shot 59% in the last game, and they still lost without Embiid.
Yeah, no, you're right about that because when we look at some of the stats, again, it was 59% as you said, and the turnover battle. Here's a couple things: Philadelphia won that one 16-8. They also won the steal battle 10-3. So maybe that kind of tells you that Boston needs to take a little bit better care of the basketball. Marcus Smart had 6 turnovers, and Philadelphia shot 14 more shots than Boston did. So those are some of the small things that can really add up. And as you said, you can't think of too many times when you shoot about 58%, you lose. So I can understand a little bit of caution on that end. And as you said, I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is really is a must-win game for Boston. I know the swings. When you think about the other series in between Denver and Phoenix, Phoenix really had to get that one. Now they're down 2-0 without an answer to try to stop Nikola Jokic. So I kind of feel this is the same kind of deal.
I think it's exactly the same deal. When you go down 2-0 against one of the best teams in the league, you're not winning that. You can't win 4 out of 5. And especially playing Philly, we've played them many times. Either team can win being the away team. And I wouldn't expect Philly to probably grab an away win soon. They might win game 3 or 4. I think this series is going to go 7. However, if the Celtics can get James Harden in some sort of foul trouble, maybe they focus on him get him in some pick and rolls or something like that, make him work, make him be aggressive and get some fouls. I think he's the key. I think Embiid is going to be Embiid. He'll do good, do all this, but can the Celtics simply stop the 2-guard play between Maxey and mainly Harden? And I don't know if we have that because Smart's great, but I don't think Jaylen Brown's blowing anyone off the roof on his defense or anything like that. So
here's the other thing for me then, because Embiid comes in. Again, we're in the middle of a commercial break. It's a 10-8 lead for Boston on that side of it. But Harden shot 30 shots in the last game, and Maxey shot 54. It's 54 shots from your backcourt on that end. It's not going to happen tonight. Harden's not going to drop 45 because you have Joel Embiid. So how do they acclimate it? Where do the point distribution comes from? Because as you said, Embiid's impossible to stop. So we'll see how Boston can take advantage of that because it's an adjustment. Again, you got another superstar on the court, but that's going to change your shot distribution and maybe a little bit of the game plan. I see Robert Williams is checking in now alongside Horford, so that's part of the front court, as we still got a little bit of half and half here between Charles Barkley and Kenny the Jet Smith before we get back into the play-by-play here. So 6:48, 14 seconds left to go on the shot clock, and we'll be the trigger man is PJ Tucker for the Philadelphia 76ers. Again, they are 5-0 right now in the playoffs, as this is picked up by Tyrese Maxey. Got it at the season logo, and now 8 seconds to go on the shot clock. It's Embiid And I didn't know if he just lost it off the front of his fingertips, looking to try to pass, but that's a careless turnover. Now a chance for Derek White, Al Horford, and Jaylen Brown. He got Harden to jump off the mid-range, didn't take it. And now it's Horford against Tucker. Horford with the half hook. This is off the front of the rim. Robert Williams with an easy rebound. Now we'll get the shot clock reset to 14. And now it's Brown. Blows right by Harden, tries to slam it over Embiid. He knew he couldn't do that. He changed it out of the air and laid it right in. So it's a 4-point lead for the C's as we get a very awkward camera angle. Don't really like that one. And toward the right wing side, as this is Harden. Baseball pass for Tucker. Tucker could have taken the three, tries to get around Robert Williams, and he gets swatted. And now it's a chance for Tatum at the top of the key. He'll back it down against Tobias Harris. Horford. Now Brown with the extra pass tries to go baseline, and a blocking foul called against James Harden. And we'll have to check to see if that is his second of the game. So it looks like Harden, Maxey, Embiid, and Tucker all have one right now. With 5:47 left to go in the first, as Joe Mazzulla looks on. 4-point lead for the C's. And it's Jaylen Brown off the jump stop, shooting it over Maxey, too strong. And James Harden with a very careless pass. And Al Horford trying to press the square button on the rapid tap. He just knocks it out of the way. And this will be a chance for Philadelphia, but they're all the way across the timeline. He just kind of nonchalantly chucked that thing. And it'll be Tyrese Maxey. Set the trigger here for Harden. Got it at the C's logo with 15 seconds to work on the shot clock. Screen from Embiid. Harden off the double. He'll step back and he'll knock it down over Brogdon. 12-10. James Harden knocks that one from 14 feet. 2-point lead back for the C's. As it's Derek White here for Brown. And now White trying to probe off the half spin. Get around Maxey. Lost his dribble. It'll be Horford now for Brown. Brown. He gets tied up. And that one will go against George Niang. That'll be his first off the bench. So you talked about this, Nick, on this side, the foul trouble. Yes, you just mentioned that going in the break in Philadelphia. They're looking a lot like they did in the first game where they committed 20 fouls. And at the 5:09 mark, Embiid's going to sit down and take a rest.
This is the point of the game when the Celtics need to keep their players in and they need to attack. Embiid's out. Paul Reed did a good job in the last game, but have that big fella out of there. You totally tell there's a big difference between the Celtics team, even though it's only a 2-point game at the moment, between game one and game two. Because in game one, it looked like this was an NBA TV game in October. There was no effort. The crowd really didn't add anything to the team. The Celtics fans are really into this, and they're focused. They understand the impact of losing this game. So
this is definitely, Nick, a more defensive structure in this first game because the first quarter last game, game one, was 38-31 Boston. We're not getting anywhere close to that now as Brown makes both free throws. And the C's already in the bonus with 5:07 left to go in the first. It took a long time to even start that shot clock as this is Harden now left to right. Again, the 76ers, they can at least get a split here. George Niang with the hook. This is too strong off the front of the rim, and this bounced away, I believe, from the 76ers off Williams, so this will stay with Philadelphia.
This looks to be the go-to lineup that really the 76ers ran in that game one victory was Niang and Reed with Tobias Harris. So it looks like this is going to be James Harden and Maxey probably closing this quarter out. Shooting a lot of shots.
Yes, it is. I mean, that's a good call by you and good defense there by Grant Williams, able to knock that one away. So this goes off Harden, and this will be an opportunity now, or that's Brogdon, excuse me, as that one goes off Harden, that one off his fingertips. So Harden's looked pretty careless with the basketball, and Embiid with the conditioning part of it with the knee, he gets to sit down early, and now Tyrese Maxey as well. So this is a golden opportunity for the Celtics to at least maybe go up by 10, you would imagine. That's what they want, is Brogdon accelerate off the jump stop, trying to draw the foul. He couldn't do it. He lost the dribble. Korkmaz will send this here for Harden. Harden with the Euro step down the lane, and that was easy over Derek White, make it 14-12 with 4:22 left in the first.
an impressive player. His conditioning, even at his age, has gotten better over the last few years.
Yeah,
a lot of miles in place.
Yes, he has. And I kind of wondered, as Jaylen Brown off the front of the window and in, he had some really spectacular games winning the MVP in Houston. And then Philadelphia wasn't a great start, but now James Harden kind of looks the way he used to as he draws the foul at the front of the rim. This one we picked up against Brogdon. We'll go to the line to shoot 2, I believe. That'll be in the act. James Harden, as easy as you like, as this one just slashed off the Euro right down the lane. Again, there really isn't anything he can't do offensively. 45 points in game one. He was a volume shooter with 17 of 30, but you kind of figured with no Embiid in game one, it would be him and the Maxey experience, and they both played pretty damn well, all things considered, as the first free throw is knocked down.
Absolutely. To tie his playoff career high, and thinking about the impact about not having him be getting a 1-0 steal against the Celtics while they're at home. That might be his greatest game ever.
Certainly in the conversation.
I think he's had a 60-point game. I'm sure, he had a couple really great years, averaging 35 in Houston winning MVP. But the importance and significance in his legacy, I think a lot of people realize he was selfish for a reason in Houston.
Yeah, he had to be when you have the 60-point triple-double in the regular season. But as you said, the historical significance of the playoff game is that was an exceedingly difficult basket by Jaylen Brown. And he made that look way too easy, as that was just butter and knife on hot bread as he got down the lane. 13 points on 5 of 6 off the jump stop Harden. We'll send this across with a pass, and this is picked up here by Reed. Pocket pass between the legs for Shake Melton. And he knocks it down. That was a great pass there by Reed. Makes it 18-16. A little bit of Harlem Globetrotter. As this now Derek White cutting chance. Brogdon wide open on the other end for a 3 with the C's. And they couldn't knock it down from the left wing. And now Harden has a chance to tie or take the lead. And a floating chance. And did he seriously draw the foul from 3? That was really out of control. And I think he did. That was a double circle pass there, Nick, there for Reed. as he just kind of. That was a shooting foul the other way, I believe, as we go to commercial break.
Still a little stunned to see a Paul Reed behind the back of Shane Melton. I've seen just about everything.
That is something we're only, I'm sure, going to be able to call once this game. If you see that more than once, I think something's really wrong.
I'd be really worried. Let's get a Cork Moss to PJ Tucker alley-oop next because this is.
Yeah, then we know we've seen it all. Correct on that side. So it's 18-16 is your score as we go to break. I'm just going to take a look at the team stats and see if anything pops out at me. Well, I guess the one thing we can say, 5 for 16 for the 76ers, 6 for 17 for the Celtics at 31% and 35% respectively. Ice Cold are both from 3, combined 2 for 13, and that's why we have an 18-16 lead for Boston with 2:59 in the first. So very poor shooting to start between these two.
Yeah, it seems really ugly, to be honest, just the style of play, but it could honestly be a little bit of nerves. We're about to end the first, whatever we're at now, about to end the first quarter. These teams are probably now starting to breathe again. They probably got a starry, so they probably feel a lot better. And so
you got to always rep the brand names in between the sports that you have, so it gives them money. It makes Adam Silver very happy.
Some of these commercials, though, I get confused of who are they really attracting. But you never know.
That is what is always up for conversation, regardless of any kind of broadcast you do. What are these really reaching, and how much money did you waste just for a 60-second, 30-second spot? Yeah.
I feel like this is what Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller or whoever, talk about when they're just waiting. Like, let's look at that.
I would love to be a fly on the wall for those guys just to see them make fun of everything else that they see on the court or in the commercials, because you know they do.
You know, I do like, however, that the Celtics are using Jaylen Brown in this game. Clearly, he's been aggressive to have 10 shots game one and shoot 80%.
Yeah.
8 of 10, obviously. That is ridiculous. One of the best players in the NBA. Averaged 26 and a half this year. Probably his best season yet. He's getting better every year. He needs to have more than 10 shots. So I'd like to have 10 shots and 8 half for him. So
I think right now, as you're talking about, he's already 5 of 6 in 9 minutes with 13 points. He's been far and away the best player. Again, 8 of 10. He had a great game last game. You just seen more of it, as you said. And I think at this pace, he might be getting close to 25 shots per if they can keep it going.
And it's important, too, because the Celtics play best when Tatum is kind of the facilitating second option, because obviously he's incredible. So if we can have a consistent 30 points from Brown, Tatum can have a bad night or shoot inconsistent, because he's better when he shoots.
Right.
So Tatum, he might not only shoot, 30, 45% in that range, but he's a great player. And I don't think I've seen Harden miss a free throw in about 6 years.
No, he's one of the very best on that side. He's definitely got one of those 99 ratings. As this was only 2 free throws. I thought it was actually from behind the arc. So it's tied at 18 nonetheless.
A bonus foul.
And yes, it is.
On the floor, but
so Marcus Smart can get down the lane. He gets a 2. 20 to 18 with 2:25 thereabouts to go in the first round. Under within the play-by-play being joined by Nick Edwards as we take in this game between the C's and the Sixers. It's a 1-0 series lead for Philadelphia. They want to try to get both games. Step back, Harden all the way around the rim and out. That was an unlucky miss as it's picked up now for Brogdon. Bounce pass, and it's last touched by the 76ers and Shake Melton. It was a poor pass. It was Jaden McDaniels that almost picked it off, but we'll do it again with Boston basketball. The shot clock is underway as you get a look at former Celtics coach Doc Rivers. He's been there for Philadelphia for a long time. Brogdon straight away 3. And Boston now up 23-18 as he hit it from the top of the key. Malcolm Brogdon's been pretty good off this bench for Boston.
Exactly what they needed. Consistent 15 to 18 point score every game. Doesn't shy away from shooting. It's a nice substitute for both Brown and Tatum for scoring, obviously.
Pocket pass for Harden behind the back for McDaniels. Set it up. He couldn't knock it down. And now it's Marcus Smart on the left wing side. 15 seconds to go on the shot clock, trying to get around McDaniels. Stutter step. Hook for Smart off the front of the window. Too strong. And Reed will get the rebound. Kind of looks like Paul Millsap to me from a long ways away. As this is recollected for Harden. Step back, missed it off the front of the rim. Reed tried to get the rebound. Spinning is Brogdon, keeping the dribble alive, and now he's got to get across the timeline. And now Tatum puts his head down. And is that going against George Niang, or is that going against Tatum? I think it's going to be an offensive foul against Tatum, as he's having some words with the referees. I think he's kind of slipped at Niang, but it'll go against Boston. It'll be Philadelphia basketball.
I don't know if his feet were set there, but good little sell there by Niang. He's only about 240 pounds. But
I think you called that one perfectly as Joel Embiid gets a chance to check in, and this is Williams against Embiid. And now, and speaking of sell, Joel Embiid, he felt like a sack of potatoes, and the Celtics crowd's not going to like that one. What? So Grant Williams about 6'4", correct? And Joel Embiid 7 feet. You act like you just got shot.
yeah, that's incredible. It'd be like if one of us was a sumo wrestling Andre the Giant pushed him over there, and there's no way that was part of the act at that point. I mean, that was a little hip thrust, I'll say.
Yes.
And I don't know what Grant does in his off time, but
he's certainly not going to knock somebody down that's got 70+ lbs on him. But the one good thing for Joel, the sell that one is he's also well above 80% of the free throw shooting. He's one of the very best big men we got in the league, period, bar none.
And absolutely, and you know this, this is one of the keys for shooters. If you can go to the line to start a game, see it go in a few times, it only builds confidence, and especially with the MVP, he's the most dangerous guy in the world, build confidence.
Tatum had to make a tough catch. Maxey Williams on the floor. Bounce pass Smart. He could have taken the three. Now to let the defense get in his face. Now shoots it. Still scores it over Niang. My goodness, Marcus Smart. He could have had an easier shot, but he made the more difficult one.
That's Marcus Smart 101 right there.
Good effort there the other way for Williams, but the three right in the stretched hands of George Niang. And now it's 26-20. So the one thing we can say from the 38-31 lead in the first game, we're almost at that same amount of point structure, but way less points as the Celtics raced out to a first quarter lead. It's Embiid, but the shot clock difference will be with the Celtics, and that's a sweet-looking stroke from Embiid as he cans it from mid, falls down again. It'll be the last shot. Absolutely. The last shot for Boston, the shot clock turned off as it's down to 10 seconds. And Marcus Smart trying to get what he likes here as it's down to 5. Got to get going, though, if you're Boston. Get thrown in the lane. Easily blocked there by Embiid. Gets it back. Step back, Marcus Smart. He hits it with .4. And it's a 28-22 lead for Boston.
I've seen it all.
Well, I will tell you this. It's not how Joe Mazzulla will coach that one up, but Marcus Smart with 5 consecutive difficult points. And Boston has the lead going in the first, 28-22. So, what do you think right now? I know it's early, Nick, but what do you think from Embiid so far?
I like it. I mean, for the Celtics to only be up by, 6, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And for Embiid to really not get going yet, clearly he's going to the line, let the game come to him, clearly his defensive presence is still there. I didn't really think he would play. So for him to actually play is a plus no matter what he does. So he only needs to score, honestly, about 15, 16 points. I wanted to touch on this now that I have this commercial break. You were saying Harden probably just goes back down to the center role. Yes, of course. Yeah, he's not going to be 45 points and 48 shots or whatever. But I still think that's how they need to play. The game plan for game 1 needs to be the same game plan. I know this sounds crazy, but you just add Joel Embiid. Obviously, the best player in the world right now, and all that, MVP, automatic, drop 40 every night. But let's not put him in an increased workload and, play him 38, 40 minutes when we have 2 more games at home coming up and play the game smart. It clearly looks like he's playing. He's going to be a factor, and he's going to play a majority of the minutes. I like that early rest that they did give him, but he's played 8 minutes. He's got 6 points. I think that's more than most people would expect coming back.
Yeah, because as you said, essentially when you put Embiid in there, we know that he can hit from 3 and from mid and do a little bit of everything, but you're going to take the pace of play and you're going to turn it down a little bit. So you're not going to have the 45 from Harden. You're not going to get the explosion from Maxey. So
15 more, field goal attempts with Joel Embiid on your team.
Right. So that's the situation, and that's what Philadelphia is going to have to kind of just circumvent and see how that works. Because as you said, what you're essentially doing is you're taking Joel Embiid and then you're replacing that with Paul Reed. And you think that that's a huge plus, but that also kind of, as we talked about, changes the pace of the game. Now, as we talked about, it was a first quarter lead for Boston in game 1, and then subsequently in 2, 3, and 4, they kind of got chipped away between 3-4 points at a time. Our national TV schedule will be Thursday on ESPN. It'll be Lakers and Steph Curry and the Warriors, and then Friday will be game 3 between the season 76ers and game 3 between the Nuggets and the Suns with Jokic and Kevin Durant. Suns really got to get going as they're down 0-2 as they'll be going to the Footprint Center.
That footprint, you never know what can happen.
They got some of the weirdest names that we have with Crypto.com Arena and the Footprint Center. The Footprint Center, more like dinosaurs and all that. This is a chance now for Embiid and Doc Rivers. We're going to get a chance to hear Mr. Cough Drop Man himself talk to Allie LaForce.
I think he's starting to drink some more herbal tea in his diet, so I think he might be able to soothe his voice more, hopefully. But he's already yelled a lot.
You need herbal tea and you need honey on the stat if you're going to be Doc Rivers.
Yeah, honey. Yeah, you just half with honey. It still sounds like he's.
Doc Rivers is one of the better coaches that we've had in the NBA, but I still feel like he wishes he could have had a couple more trophies in his case away from some of his teams. Lob opportunity for Marcus Smart from Tatum.
Get one game, a series where Marcus Smart makes a crazy impact. And I got to say, he's the best player right now. Unbelievable route.
And Maxey.
Great eye by Tatum.
It was, as Maxey immediately answered with the floater. I mean, that was a backdoor shot. Brogdon knocks down the three. And the Celtics are off to a great start here in this first half. It's in the second quarter with 11:05 left. Joining there with you in the play-by-play, being joined by Nick Edwards. 33-24. It's Boston up by 9. Melton. He tries to go through the contact, and Brogdon able to get the rebound. And Tatum, full speed, gets blocked by Embiid. And now Maxey. Maxey the same way off the Euro step. He scores over Smart. So Tyrese Maxey, that's speed on speed there. He's a good-looking player. And Embiid on the other end. No problem with the block, as it's Robert Williams now back to Smart. He's got Maxey on him. Screen, he's opened up. And this is sent across now for Brogdon. Brogdon. Off the jump step, he'll make the pass. It's picked up by Tatum. Shot clock down to 3, and this gets knocked away. And that's right into the brace of Embiid. I know that didn't feel good. So McDaniels going to pick up a foul. So that's already 3 knockaways for Embiid very early. So the impact for the MVP, I would say, is a very good one, despite his team being down, as Tatum's going to go to the line to shoot 2. He knocks down the first.
He's definitely here, and he's definitely at about 70% or so. 2 questions I have is, have you seen a faster player than Tyrese Maxey in the last couple of years? And second of all, how good is Malcolm Brogdon been?
Malcolm Brogdon's been sensational. When he's knocked down the threes, when he's been open, he's been taking smart shots. And Tyrese Maxey, the only equivalent right now is De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Fox, right. Schroeder, and then maybe Russell Westbrook in the OKC days. Because Tyrese has a gear, and when he goes to that 6th gear, I mean, nobody's catching him. As it's Shake Melton now. Off the jump stop in the air, and that's a little bit of out of control, is Brogdon with another rebound. And he gets this right to left. Now puts the dribble down, gets down the lane, draws the foul. So Malcolm Brogdon, I know Melton's not going to like that, but he's going to go to the line to shoot 2. So the former Indiana Pacers look really good in the Boston green right now, as he got hit toward the left side of the eye as he drove to the lane.
He's the 6th man of the year for a reason. Have you seen a better bench player that's made a more, made more of an impact than Brogdon on any team that's been relevant? I don't know.
No, that'd be a tough call, because I know when we talked about some of this stuff last year, Nick, you were saying that Boston's got to find some type of spark plug and off the bench to bring into this 2022-2023 season. And Brogdon's been everything you could ask for.
He's been exactly what we've needed, because now we can play him with Smart, because Smart's not scoring 15 points.
Right.
He might, but Brogdon is a consistent 15 to 18 point a night scorer. He's efficient, smart, and he can play 28 minutes, 30 minutes. Give Jaylen Brown and rest. He's checking back in here in a moment.
Harden draws another foul. And again, when we talk about conversations, is there really anybody better at drawing fouls than James Harden?
There is not.
No.
Never seen anyone better.
As Joe Mazzulla, again, he want a chance to check it. I don't think they're going to do so. They're just going to take the two here the other way. That's the other thing with James Harden you can talk about. You don't need anybody to be stationed at the free throw line. You might as well be walking back because he doesn't miss these. I could probably get a broadcaster's curse on my end, but he makes the first. Jaylen Brown does check in. It's a 10-point lead for Boston. With 9:33 left to go in the second, Tatum will get a quick breather, I imagine.
Brogdon playing the way he is, you can just sub him out for Brown, and he's just switching. And plus, Tatum, I believe, has 2 fouls now. It's not good of a cheap third early in the second.
Yeah. Yes, he does. It's a good call by you. He's 1 of 3 in 12 minutes, got 2 fouls and 7 points. He does have a block. As it's Brogdon, he's going to run some primary point guard duties right now. Is this a chance for Harris? Oh, it was just off the front of the rim and out. He got the blow-by against Tobias, but it's Joel Embiid bringing this up the timeline. And now Harden off the step back. Got to watch out for those amethyst ankle breakers, and it's Brown. He's a good defender, but it is still James Harden. As it's 8 seconds to go, Tyrese Maxey with a 3. Was very contested. Good work there by the C's to close it out. And now Marcus Smart stepping in a 3 from the right wing, and it's too strong off the front of the rim as Tobias, as the pumpkin quickly races across the timeline, trying to get around Brogdon, kisses it off the glass and in. Tobias Harris with a good-looking basket there, 37-30, with about 8:40 left to go in the second. As it's Brogdon, now against Harden, he gets the pass back from Robert Williams III. And now it's Brown against Tobias Harris. 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. This all at the C's logo. Celtics got to get something going here. They walk into a 3 is Grant Williams, and he was all alone. He could have balanced his checkbook, 40-30, as Al Horford likes what he sees, and the C's are back up by 10. All the way down the lane is Maxey before the camera could cut. Go ahead, Nick.
No, great call by you there. I'm surprised that Grant was wide open there. Tyrese Maxey, I mean, you can't say it enough. He's just one of the fastest players we've ever seen. I haven't seen his spectrum stats and all that, but I bet he's got to be top 5 acceleration speed, something like that ever.
You're throwing out some more NBA money in commercials. They're going to like you on the corporate side. I was thinking about the Brazilian blur, Leandro Barbosa. That's another one.
That's a good comp. Jamal Crawford probably in there for just how fast he is. And he's young, too. Great pickup from Philly.
Harden step back, too strong off the front of the rim, and it's skied by Jaylen Brown. Brown on the right wing side, step back, Brown down the lane, he tried to jam it over Embiid, but Embiid was there for his 4th block. And now Harden set it up for Tucker, but he doesn't take it, and Harden was a little bit upset on that side. Embiid's going to draw the foul against Williams. If you want a sense of an explosion there, it's Jaylen Brown, but Embiid, he's the long arm of the law with his 4th swat.
Unbelievable play by the MVP. Draws another foul on Williams on the 2. He's in there.
Nick, for somebody that is, as you say, I don't disagree with you either. That's probably still dealing with that knee injury, no doubt. 4 blocks already?
He's like playing on a if you were playing a video game, he's playing on no stamina when he entered this game. You imagine that, if anyone can understand that.
He didn't buy those Gatorade boosts at the 2K booth.
Yeah, so he's down 15 overall points, but he's still here. And the Celtics, I do like their rotation, at least with now Grant Williams now playing. He can rotate to 3-4. So a lot of early substitutions you regularly wouldn't see with Williams and Horford, Brown, and Tatum.
Brogdon, oh, he got blocked by Embiid again. That's his 5th. Maxey down the lane. Too strong, but Harris is there. And it's a 6-point game. 5 blocks for the MVP.
He might get a triple-double with blocks.
That is something. When you say that, I'm thinking about what was it, Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon. I think one of those guys
Yeah.
did have that.
Both of them are the only ones to ever do it. Well,
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. This has been a great game so far. I'm glad to have you along with me. I didn't even imagine that we would see this kind of defense from Embiid. He averages about 1.7 in the regular season. He's got 5 on 8 points and 2 boards. And let's just see who else is leading the Sixers. What else is new? At least the one thing you can say for the season is they're doing a good job on James Harden. Yeah, he's got 11 points. He's got 7 of 8 from the line, but he has to shoot 2 of 8 to get it. So they're making him work for his points. And on the other end, when Jaylen Brown does get a chance to get more time back on the court, it's been Brown and Brogdon. Brogdon, 11 minutes off the bench, 3 of 6, 2 threes with 10 points. So when we do get to the half, I know Nick and I will have more discussions about some of the other series. I will give you some of the NHL scoreboard that's come across. Again, we only have one game. This game is probably going to end somewhere in between the Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. That's about 9:45 Eastern on ESPN. But as it stands right now, I think at the end of the second, the scoring update that we can give, it's all Carolina over New Jersey. It's 3-1. Of note that I saw before this game started, New Jersey had just one shot on goal after the first period, and they were down 2-0.
tell me if I'm wrong, and that's the team that one of the that's where Brent Burns plays.
Yes, no, it is. He was the pickup from the Sharks, and now he's in Carolina. He's got an absolute blister of a shot. He has never won a Stanley Cup, but when you see him smile, he kind of looks like Chewbacca, but he does. He's looking for a cup. He's on a good team. Carolina might be the team that goes to the Eastern Conference Finals, but we'll have to see what happens in between what New Jersey's going to do. They had a 7-game series against the Rangers. Yes, it will be. And then on the other end, between Toronto and the Florida Panthers, many are expecting Toronto versus Carolina, but Florida, they did upset Boston, who had the best regular season of all time. So if you're a Boston sports fan all the way across, you're not feeling too good about everything that's been happening right now. So maybe the C's can alleviate some of this and even the series at a game apiece. I never listened to the podcast yet between Ernie and Chuck, but I saw the commercial, and Ernie goes to Chuck and says, "You named your daughter after a mall." I wonder what the name is on that site.
Gosh, I have no idea what is it.
I don't know what it is. We'll have to look it up on that site. I think I'm able to do that during the commercial. Let's see. It's got to be something in Leeds, Alabama, because that's where he's from. So his daughter's name is Christiana, but apparently that's the name of the mall in Delaware. That doesn't sound very odd. That's a normal name.
It's just fine.
Here's a 3 for Brown. Jaylen Brown picking right back up where he left off. It was 6:20 left to go in the second. It's 45-36. He's got 16 points on 6 of 8. He has been spectacular alongside Brogdon so far. As it's Embiid now with his 5 blocks. And here's a saucer of a pass. It's deflected with the active hands of Derek White. Again, the Inside the NBA crew loves to talk about Derek White's hairline, but it kind of looks like mine. It's not very good. 6:09 left to go here in the second with 7 seconds to go on the shot clock, and Embiid will take another rest, and I would say he's definitely earned it. It's a chance now for Reed off the trigger, and now Tobias Harris. Shot clock down to 3. He gets a little bit of space on Jaylen Brown, and Tatum, who is checked back in now. He's got the rebound, as this is against Reed. You got to think he's like that mismatch. Step back, 3-pointer for Tatum. Too strong off the front of the rim. Now Harden all the way down the court for Reed, and he throws it down. 45-38. He had the 2K camera on that, and he just chucked it with the L2. As it's sent the other way now for Tatum. Tatum down the lane trying to draw the foul. It's Williams, but this is going to go against the Sixers. And I think it might be 3 fouls against PJ Tucker, who looks none too pleased.
I believe he's their best probably perimeter defender, so it'd be huge to kind of get him out for the Celtics at least.
Again, for PJ, he's not somebody that's going to give you a ton of points anymore, but like Nick said, he will try to play as much as he can. And no, actually, I take that back. They gave a 3rd foul on Tatum. They put it against Tucker for an offensive charge. So 3 against Tatum, but yet the Celtics are still up 45-38. You'd have to imagine that they would take that. Harden, crossover dribble, great block the other way by Horford. And now it's Brown. Chance for White, baseline. He got hit hard as he was trying to drive to the lane. And there'll be an opportunity for Boston to get a couple free throws here as Horford doing his best Embiid impression as no problem with the off arm for Harden to get around Brown, but Horford was there and he cleaned up the mess.
I think Al just checked in, if I'm correct, so he's been resting for a while, so hopefully he can play the rest of the half here. Keep that interior pressure with the Celtics fans. I do like that James is playing aggressive. So Harden, he can play that all day long. He's efficient with those shots, but good play there by Horford.
So I know for Horford, Nick, he's getting a little bit long in the tooth as far as being around, but he had a great finals last year. You still think Horford can get enough impact for the Celtics to give exactly what they need, like rebounds and defensive help?
No, I don't. But he'll play this year, and then his contract basically expires after next year.
Okay.
So he'll play this year and next year. I'm assuming that this is probably going to be it for Al. But we have another maybe year and a change of Al Horford on the court. But because Williams is going to get paid, and he's important. He's getting better, obviously. But I think that position would be better suited for Tatum, and maybe we would put Brogdon in there or some sort of maybe a free agent or something like that.
So
There definitely was a foul there. Was that on Tucker?
Yes, it was. This is going to go here for the Celtics. Second on Tucker as they get a little look at a flying drone, apparently, that went right across Marcus Smart. I think I've seen it all now. Again, I haven't covered as many NBA playoff games. Here's Horford for 3 off the front of the rim, but he's going to get it right back. He's going to cast it again. Second opportunity, makes it count. And Al Horford is going to force Doc Rivers to maybe take a timeout here, 50-38. From the flying drone to knocking down a 3 off the second opportunity, Al Horford takes us to another commercial break. The Pacing Bills, 4:41 in the second. The C's are up by 12. And Nick, as you talked about, this looks like a much different game than Game 1 has been so far. I would say good work by Boston.
The passion is there. Everything you want, the theatric, the drama, the athleticism, it's all there. The problem with the Celtics is even if with them being up by 10 now?
Yep, up by 12.
Mm-hmm. 12. We have a game still. Because we know who we're talking about. We're talking about the Boston Celtics. They make it dramatic until the end. It's going to be a 3-point game with 2 minutes left.
Well, if you say that, I will hold you to it, and I will give you full marks on that side if that ends up being the case. Right now, I guess I can say that I'm very impressed that Boston's up by 12 because Tatum's got 3 fouls.
I'm concerned he's still in the game, especially with our rotation pieces of having Brogdon, White, Smart, and Brown. You got 4 guards to fill 3 positions. And then Tatum's, 5. However, he needs to be on the court because he's impactful.
Yes,
Missoula, maybe with his amateur coaching compared to a Doc Rivers, who is probably the most experienced in the league in the playoffs at this point, with Popovich obviously not going to be around. But
yeah, I would imagine.
As a Celtics fan, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, we're good," because we know what happened in the last game.
I would imagine, as you talked about with Al Horford, Popovich has about as many years left in the NBA.
Years or years? Because I don't think he has any hearing anymore.
Well, he needs ears. He needs the plugs in his ears to hear. Yes. He's also going to deliver out the Christmas presents on that side. He looks very much like Santa Claus.
Our commercial commentary is better than our in-game commentary.
Well, I mean, that's what you got to do when you see some of the stuff on the TNT side for all these shows that nobody's going to watch.
Good point. Got to make it interesting. I'll give you that.
Do you feel like the NBA audience gives a flying F about dramas on TNT?
Absolutely not.
Right. Count me out for that side, I would say. I think a lot of them would. So 50-38 is the scoreline. So it looks like if Boston a half 100, they're definitely trending in the right direction because the first quarter was 28-22 and now it's already 22-16. So as Nick was going to tell you, the offense has certainly picked up a little bit. I have no idea what the Lazarus Project is, but I can tell you that's not a good name for a show.
Yeah, I won't be watching any of that.
Joe Mazzulla, I have to make sure I have to look up his age, but Joe Mazzulla looks like he could be no older than maybe early 30s.
I was thinking 24, but
I think you're probably right. I'm going to make sure I look that up in the next break.
He doesn't have any eye wrinkles.
No.
He's had a stress-free life, it looks like.
You think with all the stuff with Ime Udoka, he'd be under stress, but I guess not. He wasn't anywhere.
We'll see how Ime Udoka when he appears in Houston, but I bet he's a changed guy. I bet he gains weight, got some wrinkles. Yeah, he's going to be a changed man.
It's Tyrese Maxey spinning out of control and laying it up and in. Boy, has he looked good in this game as Philadelphia back within 10, 4-10 left to go in the second. I think so too. When you talk about his speed, it's definitely been a factor. Jaylen Brown, jump pass here for Horford. Brogdon can walk right into a three. Harden wanted nothing to do with defense, and sometimes that's what you talk about with James Harden, as this is picked up now at the top of the key. And they'll slowly dribble this around. It's Horford against Harden, and you might want to tip those ankles down to 10. Here's Harden. He's looking to go to work off the step back. He'll fake it, throw to Maxey instead for some reason. And now it's 4 seconds. Maxey trying to get around Brown. Off the jump stop. Beautiful move. He fakes the square button and puts it in. Maxey with another basket.
We're talking about since the 5 minutes into the game. He's been the best player on the court tonight, even with Embiid's 5 blocks. It's unbelievable.
Good extra
He's
passing. Yes, he is. And good extra passing for the Celtics, but it turned out for Marcus Smart having to challenge the big man and Reed. That didn't work out too well. And now the Sixers trying to take a 6-0 run, and this is going to go the other way. I think we might have an illegal screen. So Joel Embiid is going to get a chance to check back in. Again, all of this stuff is going to update here on the ESPN box score as this gets pushed in. So if I see any other fouls over I miss, I can always check that on the computer side. So Reed will sit down. It's 50-42 with 3 minutes left to go in the second. Derek White trying to explode down the lane. Horford all alone again from the left wing side, and he missed it. That one was a little short. So the Celtics they're ready to have Horford shoot, but the 76ers, I should say, are willing to give that up for whatever reason. As it's a half spin. This is sent here back for a shake, and now Joel Embiid. Shot clock down to 8. Harden, pocket pass, Embiid going right at Williams, and he lays it right in. 50-44 as the 76ers are back within 6. Embiid's got 10 points on 2 of 4. He's been about as good as you could ask for as well alongside Maxey. That's a chance now for Brown. Off the step through, it's a screen from Williams. Williams wide open. Fakes the 3. Now he's going to take it over hard. Miss up the front of the rim. Derek White trying to get to it. And a bump foul is going to be picked up before Maxey could have just easily laid that one in.
They're crawling back into this game. The Celtics seem to just be lazy again. Exactly how they played in the second half of game 1. Let's get Grant Williams out of there. I think we put Tatum in there. Let's not, bring this lead any lower than it needs to.
I agree with you, Nick, on that side. Between them all, the praise that we were given Boston on that end. They're kind of throwing it away, and here's another development.
Almost twice already in this game. They're like 2 8-0 runs.
Yes. Tyrese Maxey now has 3 fouls, as Williams will get set to check in here on the other end. Robert Williams. So now it'll be Brown. It'll be the trigger man of the sideline out of bounds there for Robert Williams. And now Derek White back to Brown. Trying to get around Embiid. Here's a jump pass. It's Marcus Smart, right wing side. Miss off the front of the rim. And this will fall right back to James Harden. Here's a pocket pass here for Harris. Melton's wide open, right wing side. And he airballed it completely. As this goes the other way for Derek White. That was not even close. Derek White. And now here's an extra jump pass, and this gets picked off a little easily, got out of control. Harden, Embiid tries to draw it. This looks like preseason basketball.
That air ball was maybe the worst I've ever seen that control before. Hope they show that replay.
That would be like if my power forward on 2K would shoot the basketball.
Yes, that's exactly it. Just foul though on Embiid. Looks like he's going to the line, right?
Yes, he is. And
Great
Philadelphia.
job,
Philadelphia gets a chance to make this a 4-point game, but he missed it. So he's got one more opportunity here. So
I have been
here's
impressed with Anthony Melton the first, 6 quarters of this series, I will say. He's been impactful, needed, important. And he's their first sub as a guard. So I like what I've seen from him. He's always been one player we've talked about for years, but now he seems to be a little more matured and ready to go.
And I want to ask you too that I just saw, does James Harden's beard look like a bird's nest?
Yes, there's weeds, there's leaves, there's random items picked up, and there's always someone sitting on it. You know what I mean?
It looks very unkept as Marcus Smart gets a chance off of the floater.
Damn it. Oh.
52-45 as it's opportunity now for Philadelphia with James Harden.
Warming up.
Right wing side. Here's a step back. Here's a double team. Embiid. Nice ball movement down to one. Korkmaz gonna have to let it go. No chance on earth. Blocked by Marcus Smart between the legs. Here's Horford. White all on right wing side. Knocks it down. The Celtics are back up by 10.
Unbelievable. When Korkmaz is the one shooting shots, we're in good hands. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the guy I trust the most is Derek White from the Celtics.
Oh my goodness, Embiid the other way.
Oh.
That was a blow by and a slam. That was amethyst post spin.
One of the best players in the world.
That reminded me of anything as good as the former Celtic and Kevin Garnett. And here's a chance now for Smart. How the hell did he make that basket? It's back to
I ask myself that question every time.
57-47. I don't know what's got into Marcus Smart this game, but he's pretty locked in with some unconventional shots as the shot clock's about a 5-second difference. Philadelphia down 10. Step back, Harden. Missed it up the front of the rim. And now it's Harris. He missed it. No, I actually got the tip. It's 1.7. Horford, now to Brown. Did he get it off in time? Yes, he did. And it's not going to count. 57-49 as we go to half. Yeah, that shot from Smart was hopeful, to say the least. But it did go in.
I don't think I've ever seen something like this. Marcus Smart's made, I think 4 baskets. I don't have the stats in front of me, and I think all of them I was genuinely surprised. However, what I'm more surprised is this is an 8-point game, and Harden and Embiid haven't really got going.
Let me just get to your points here on this side because we'll give you the shots. We'll give you a little bit of a reset here. So it's Brown was 16 on 6 of 9. He's been terrific on that side. And again, he's carrying over from game 1. Now he's got almost as many shots as he had. He had 10. It's 6 of 12 for Smart with 13 points and a +9. I think he have to take that, Nick. You're happy with what you've seen on that end. And to your point, in between Embiid and Harden, they've combined for 24, but they've shot 5 of 15 on that side. The one thing for Embiid is he's got 5 blocks and 13 points in 17 minutes. So
Very impressed.
taking full advantage of everything that's been going on right now. So this is the only game. I think so too, as that continues to get settled and they'll go back to Philadelphia at Wells Fargo Center. You would expect him to continue to push on that end. So while I have you on here, I'm going to go ahead because this is only one NBA game tonight. But let me make sure that I click on this and try to pull up the scoreboard as we have games tomorrow. This ESPN doesn't want to load, but I'm going to do this now. So only one game tomorrow as well. And between the Lakers and the Warriors, the Lakers were able to take game 1. What do you like? Who are you going to take?
We'll have to see your schedule on that, but I think that would be a fan favorite game. That game is more dramatic than the Celtics game. I think most people think the Celtics are going to win this. But that game 1 of Warriors-Lakers was must-see TV. Definitely going to be watching it. The eyes just the whole time. But I think on this one, I'm going to go Golden State. I've said this with like 3 out of 4 series. I think that one's going 7 as well.
There's definitely a lot.
The only series is Denver that I don't think's going 7. That's relevant, that we're talking about, really caring about.
I think you can definitely make the argument on that side, Nick. I'm not even going to get anywhere close to disagreeing with you on that. I think a lot of people are expecting a long series. The interesting part is, even though, what is it, a 6th and a 7th seed in between these two, and it's still LeBron and Curry. It's not the same repeat of the NBA Finals between the Warriors and the Cavs on that side, but this could be potentially one of the last times that these two meet up with each other again.
I would agree, and I think it will be. So we need to enjoy it as basketball savants, fans, enjoyers. These are 2, and we can talk about this. We could have a 5-hour podcast just talking about the top 10 players of all time. And a lot of people, the argument now is Michael Jordan, LeBron. I think you are in mutual agreement with me that, it's Michael Jordan every day of the week. But I get why people, LeBron's 2 to me. I think now the argument, my point will be, I think Steph Curry is going to be in a lot of top 10 lists.
It's interesting that you bring that up, Nick, because that's what I keep hearing on the side of the talking head shows on ESPN. That when they seen Curry drop that 50 piece, it was yet another reminder of how good he is, and maybe taking out a Tim Duncan or some other players like that on their list and inserting Steph.
That'd be hard to do, but I could be convinced. If he can get one more championship, let's say he wins it this year. Shaq, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Oscar Robertson, Will Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant. There's only like 5 spots, and I just named 8 players.
Right.
Hard. You can Kevin Durant. I don't think he's obviously there yet, but there's a lot of good Giannis. So it's like it's gonna be time that we kind of go this, but I will always have Bill Russell in my top 10. But because if we're doing that, then we can just do what it will turn into, bro. It will simply be your modern list and your all-time list. So we're gonna remove Kareem, Larry Bird, all these guys are gonna come. Let's not do that.
I think that's a good call by you, because when you talk about whether it's parents or anybody older, or things like whoever you talk about, they always talk about eras, and they always say it's not fair to compare. But yeah, when you look at it in the sense of when we talked about just Jordan and LeBron, everybody can get tired about that conversation, but depending on your age, LeBron's the greatest player you've ever seen. And when you get a chance,
in my life, he's the greatest player I've ever seen.
Right.
I never got to enjoy enjoyed Michael Jordan. I was like 2 years old when he was playing.
And again, for me,
with Chicago, so it's like I didn't get the first great player I ever saw was Shaq.
Yeah.
But it turned into Kobe Bryant, and then but obviously every show was LeBron James. So, but then a year or so, LeBron James is the greatest player we've ever seen. If you've never watched, if you're just enjoying basketball,
yeah.
Now, let's say you were born in the, it's crazy to think this way, but let's say you're born in 2010. So you're 13 years old. Who's the most enjoyable, fun, what's the word? You can connect with them because he's short.
Yeah.
It's Steph Curry. It's been Steph Curry. So it's like, how is he not at least the top 15 player? And I think everyone would say he is now. But also, he's the greatest perimeter offensive player we've ever seen.
Yeah, and as you said, he's changed the game. He's a guy that's not much bigger than 6 feet, and he's kind of.
The game is just like one of those cliches. I'm not saying that you're saying
right.
that everyone, but it's like we've always used that. That's like when you're watching a show and they say this is the most important episode. They do it next week. It's always going to be he changed the game. They could say the same thing about Joel Embiid or Jokic. They changed, but. I know what you're saying because he actually did. It's become obviously a way more perimeter game. The thing where I appreciate more with Steph Curry is he's the best at a very crucial part of basketball.
Yeah, he's not just about knocking down 40-footers. I mean, he's the point guard that can make everything work.
That threat creates everything.
Right.
But yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean that's what he does. So when you say change the game, I know it's a cliche thing, but if I say revolutionize the way basketball has been played over the last 10 years, it's correct. And that's why you would think that Curry's going to be in a lot of people's lists now, as he should. We already know him to be the greatest shooter of all time in league history. That's without question. But now if you're 6 feet, 6'3", 6'2", you have hope. That you have hope now that as soon as you cross the timeline, if you have a really good looking jump shot, you can be as impactful as any of the guys that are 7 feet tall.
He is the early year Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant. Everyone loved AI and Kobe Bryant. I'm sure you knew this. You were young at that point.
Yeah.
You were a young kid. It was those young kids. I'm sure they were annoying as hell, but they had Allen Iverson jerseys or Kobe Bryant jerseys. So, and Dwayne Wade. But Dwayne Wade was more like, everyone liked him. But, you picked a player. I think everyone now, is trying to do this whole Steph Curry, LeBron James deal. No, there's no debate. LeBron James is a better basketball player than Steph Curry. But it doesn't mean Steph Curry's not a top 10 player of all time.
No, considering
all. It would be hard for me, to make a list. Maybe we'll do after a show or something, but do a top 10 list. And, we could do our own, but a mutual top 10 list. I don't think Steph Curry is going to be in our top 10.
I think he'd just miss out for me if I'm just ballparking off the top of my head right now.
I think he's like 11, 12, 13.
Yes. And again,
I'm taking out Shaq or Tim Duncan over Steph Curry, and I don't even know if any of those guys are in my top 10. So it's like.
No, that was always on the edge when we did ours because we were trying to go back in between the eras. And you still have Wilt, you still have Magic, you still have Bill Russell. You're not taking those guys up. So it all depends on what people's thought processes are and what they value. And that's what we have to say now.
That's why I was saying thinking we're going to have, your all-time list where you take everything into consideration in eras. Then you're going to have your own list. So it's like, we should just have a mutual who's the best players list. But that's why I think Will Russell in the next maybe 10 years will be not talked about. It'll be people like us or people that actually watch basketball documentaries. documentaries, want to care about it, which is sad. But that's what Charles Barkley said, I think, on one of those shows. I watched a video. He was saying, man, the game, anything pre-1980s is going to be forgot about. That's Kareem, even.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but I mean, we can understand it, but I mean, if you can come through history and get us to be convinced of your points, that's great. But if you just want to go ahead and say you like somebody just because you like somebody, hopefully they get laughed out of television. I can tell you that at this point. So I'm going to give a little quick reset here as we're well into our intermission here in between the halftime, I should say. 12-12 left to go in the third in between Carolina and New Jersey. Here's the one thing that's really of note they got to talk about in this hockey game in the sense of Akira Schmid. He had 2 shutouts in the series. Again, the 22-year-old goaltender for New Jersey. 2 shutouts against the New York Rangers. He was pulled after giving up 3, stopped 8 of 11. They put in Vitek Vanacek, stopped 9 of 9. Carolina still got a 3-1 lead. They opened the scoring and it continued. It was Brett Pesce, the defenseman from Stahl. Seth Jarvis unassisted at 14:43, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi at 1:55 from Jordan Martinook and Jesper Foss before Nathan Bastian scored at 5:02 from Michael McLeod. So it's been all Carolina. And on that side, for the team stats, I'll just throw this out there really quickly. The shot board's starting to get more even. It was 7-1 after the first period. It's now 20-17 Carolina on that end. So they've controlled New Jersey. Again, New Jersey started their series down 0-2. We will see how that continues. And then 9:30, this is going to be a big one. So if you're cross sports or if you're just basketball, it's going to end after the Celtics and Sixers. It's all went on tonight. But if you're all across sports, you get a chance to watch the best player in the world, Connor McDavid, take on a very underrated Vegas team at 9:45 Eastern on ESPN. That should be a great series. I think for me, that's one that's at least going to go 6. And I know I always say maybe I undercut Edmonton a little bit because I kind of wonder if you can play the 1980s hockey and beat everybody by outscoring everybody by a ton. But that's the problem with Edmonton. We'll see how Vegas handles it. They've been good. Vegas has used 5 different goaltenders, so it'll be Stuart Skinner versus Brossoit. It'll be a good matchup, and we'll see if McDavid starts to get traction underneath him. It's kind of funny in a 6-game series, nonetheless, when he's got 6 points, and you say it doesn't sound like a lot because it's him, but McDavid's capable of getting about 2.5, 3 points per game. Maybe he'll get that against Vegas, but they're a good defensive team. So that'll be 9:45, and that's just a cross-sport reset for you. I think there was something that was big locally on my end as well, and I was surprised when I saw the scoreline. I don't know if it went final just yet, but let me take a look at it. So the Tigers able to hold off the Mets and get a 6-5 win. They won both games in the doubleheader, and the interesting note of this is it was Max Scherzer's return, and this is the first game. Hold on, so that's 6-5. So Max Scherzer's return. And the Tigers, I think, took both games on that side, but this second, they're both 5-6. See if this loads though, because I'm not seeing the Scherzer line. 8-1 was the second game. Excuse me. So 8-1, they got both, and Scherzer got rocked. He pitched 3 1/3, gave up 8 hits, 6 runs, and 3 strikeouts against the AAA Tigers team, but they're 12-17. The Mets are now 16-15. It's going to be Verlander tomorrow in the early game. That's a big surprise. Other scores here for you. It's the Rays against the Pirates. Man, the Rays are 25-6. They got an 8-1 win over Pittsburgh. It's been the best team in the AL versus the best team in the NL, if you can believe that. 8-1 for the Rays. Again, the Tigers were 7 on both doubleheaders. So the Braves all over the Marlins, 14-6. Padres with a 7-1 win over the Reds. Dodgers, 10-6 over the Phillies. It was the Giants, 4-2 over the Astros. Diamondbacks, 12-7 over the Rangers. The only game left to go tonight on the baseball side of it are the Mariners and the Athletics. It'll be about 9:45 Eastern. Brewers and Rockies underway in the fourth. They are scoreless. It's the Angels and the Cardinals 4-3. It's the Royals all over the Orioles, 6-0 in the eighth. Red Sox, Blue Jays, it's 6-3. 4-4 tie between the Twins and the White Sox. If you're the White Sox, it's got to be one of the worst records I've ever seen as far as a team that has talent. They're 9-21. Twins really can't blow that. 17-13 is enough to lead the AL Central by a lot. 2-2 between the Guardians and the Yankees in the ninth. And on the bottom of the eighth, and it's 2-1. The Nationals have the lead at home against the Cubs. So we will, one more time, I'm going to pull this back up on the box score side, get this all squared away. I'm going to duplicate this and then pull this back to the play-by-play just so we have all the windows and everything else open. Again, I appreciate anyone that's joined in between the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube side. I know we don't have as many on the basketball side. There's become a lot of hockey stuff. There's Marcus Smart with another fall away, 59-49. I know Nick Edwards will be back here in about 10 minutes as this is recollected for Boston. And they have a 10-point lead as it's Tobias Harris near the left wing side. And now it's a chance for Embiid. He's on the left elbow against Horford off the face-up down to 5. He wants the jump shot. Now he'll back down off the post fade, and he kisses it. And not even a chance off glass. He just puts it right in. 59-51 Boston as it's Horford off the jump pass. Brown! He got the red carpet and he slammed it down. 61-51 with 10:50 in the third. It's a chance now right to left for Embiid. He's got a chance to dribble his basketball. It's Maxey. Extra pass, PJ Tucker, all alone from 3, and that is an absolute missed assignment. 61-54 as the 76ers are within 7. And now Brown, this is contested over 2 hands. And he says, take that. 64-54 as both teams exchange 3-pointers. And now Embiid has got the C's logo. Jaylen Brown has been terrific in the first 2 games. 24 points on 8 of 11 as Embiid will get this here to Harris. And he's posted up way away. Here comes the screen. And it's sent up for Tucker. Now to Embiid. Embiid's got to hurry. Extra pass. Harris. Can he get it off in time? Missed it off the front of the rim. And now Tatum. He gets bunched there by PJ Tucker and then stripped. And this goes the other way for Harris. He's got numbers. Here's the lob for Embiid. Missed it off the front of the rim. And now Horford. He'll make the pass for Smart. It's 2-on-3. And now Smart will take his time. Back this all the way out. Brown gets stripped. Try to get saved by Maxey. And it's called a kickball. This will stay with Boston. So 64-54 is the scoreline. John here with you alongside Nick Edwards, who's going to be jumping back in here in just a moment. And we have a chance to look at the play-by-play. I'll pull this back up on this side just in case I miss any other fouls that come across. And we'll be picking up the box score as well. As it's Brown, 5 seconds to go on the shot clock. He'll shoot this from 18 right over Maxey, and Jaylen Brown experience is in full effect right now. 66-54 with 9:20 left to go in the third. As it's Harden slowly across the timeline here for Harris. He's got 23 points and 7 in this quarter. He's been absolutely on lock. And now Harden, pocket pass for Embiid, stepping into a mid-range from 15. He missed it. And now it's Tatum. Chance for Brown, left wing side. Brown going to shoot from 35. And this is too strong off the front of the rim before Tyrese Maxey will collect the pumpkin. So now the 76ers are down by as much as 12. It's been the largest deficit of the game. Embiid for 3. Right wing side, and he missed it off too strong off the right side rim. There's a bounce pass from Tatum to Smart as he recollect, and now Smart has a switch here for Harden. He'll give it back here for Tatum. Tatum with an overhead pass. It's Horford right wing, and he missed it. And Charles Barkley admits from this too. Horford just can't put the ball in the ocean from the 3-point range, whether it's the right or left corner. He's been wide open, and Philadelphia and Doc Rivers are more than willing to give it up. As it's Embiid, pocket pass, easily read by Brown. And now Brown in transition. It's Horford for 3. Again, too strong off the front of the rim, and it just hit off the left side as it's Harden. 8:05 left to go in the third. Joining her within the play-by-play side. Step back. A TD Garden for James Harden. Toilet seated all the way around the rim and out, as it still stays at 66-54. Brown. And between the legs, and they'll back up against Harris as it's smart. Set the dribble down and give to Brown on the right wing side. Try to get around Harden, splitting it through the Euro step and drawing the foul. So Jaylen Brown will go to the line to shoot two. Jaylen Brown more on a 70% free throw shooter, but I love the discrepancy that he's had in between the three. He's got to the rim. He's thrown things down. He's a good defender. Jaylen Brown is just one of those all-around players that I'm glad when you're talking about trade talks and Kevin Durant at times that they stuck with Jaylen and they knew what they have because I feel like he's going to be the better player going forward. 23 points, 9 of 14. And he makes the first. He's in a hunt for 25. And if he does get it, it'll be a 68-54 lead for the C's over the Sixers. Trying to at least split the series right now, TD Garden in Boston, as the second free throw is up and good. 68-54 is the score line. About 7:40 left to go in the third. And now Tobias Harris from Harden. On the right wing side, it gives to Embiid. Embiid's taking a couple threes in this quarter. And now Harden gets hit in the face and Tatum. And then if it is against Tatum, that's his fourth. As he's very slow to get up. He might have got grazed with a hand across the right eye. And it seems like the 76ers may be taking a timeout, as that was Tatum. That stop sign, he got chopped in toward the right side of the hand. If you're following along the YouTube side, just right in the middle of the forearm. That's what it looked like. Harden got hit up in the bridge of the nose toward the left side of the eye, and that was the contact. And we will see if that goes against Tatum. So we will step aside with the timeout.
Definitely potential flagrant one there. Even though it's inadvertent, it's still legal contact.
That would put Tatum with his fourth. He's got 7 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He's a plus 20 on the floor, which is good for that side. But Tatum hasn't been able to stay on the floor too much. And now with 4 fouls, you would imagine he might take a longer rest to get at least toward the end of the third. So your score reset with 23 minutes. It's 25 points for Brown on 9 of 14, 3 of 5 from deep. Al Horford, 1 of 8, 1 of 7 from 3 points for 3 points on that side, plus 8 on the floor. But Charles Barkley had mentioned this. You just can't put the ball in the ocean right now. And I would say at least 6 of the 7 opportunities for Horford have been wide open from baseline to baseline on the sides of the corner threes. He just hasn't knocked them down. It's been Embiid with 15 on 4 of 9 shooting. And it was interesting to wonder how this would work with Embiid coming into game 2. Not saying he's not a great player because he's the MVP, but how does that disrupt the rhythm in between Maxey and Harden? Well, it's not disrupt Maxey. 6 of 10, 13 points on the other end with a couple of he's got a block. He doesn't have a steal just yet. He usually does. He averages about 2 or 3. But Harden, he's not had a great game. He's had a great game at the line, 7 of 8. But he's 0 of 6 from deep, and he's 2 of 11. Just 11 points. He does have 10 rebounds, but he's not shooting all that well.
I would agree with that. On the Celtics side, at least, it's been the Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart train, which if you're a Celtics fan, is very scary. But, however, it is a 14-plus game for the Celtics. They are up and playing well. Tatum has not played well. He does have 4 fouls, like John was just talking about. So he'll sit for a while. Tatum probably is going to have his bad games. Tatum gives you 2 bad games a series. We've seen this. Every series he's played, or about 6, 7, 8 series now into Tatum's career. And he has 2 bad games. Thankfully, we have Jaylen Brown. And so if you're a Celtics fan right now, you would want to see Jaylen Brown continue to shoot the ball. Marcus Smart, even though he is 1 of 3 from the three-point line, overall he's 7 of 13 from field goal. And it's just, attempts in general. So he's been effective. The issue that I have is how do you work the rest? They moved out Hauser. It's now Grant Williams. Does he Will he play in the second half? No. Why not? So it's just going to be Williams and Brogdon. So the subs are huge. However, with Tatum with 4 fouls, do you think Williams probably jumps in there, gives it a few minutes? Not saying he's not bad. He's not a bad player. However, he's impactful.
With 7:34 left to go in the third, Nick, to answer your question, I could give Williams a run for 3 or 4 minutes and have confidence that the scoreline's not going to move all that much. This is a chance now for Harden to Embiid. The back down against Smart. Horford's got to come help and try to pry the ball loose, and hopefully for Embiid, it didn't fall onto that left knee as he's dropping some curses here on that side that we can't repeat, but you can easily read the lips with the F-bombs. This is a chance now for Embiid. And again, I think he's got a little bit of concession there, but if you're Marcus Smart, I think you sell that one as well on the other end, thinking you got to
absolutely sell it. We saw Niang, we saw Harden earlier, right?
I think if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
And also, I will say, I don't know if you touched on this at the very beginning, but Tatum is still in the game for the Celtics with 4 fouls. There's still 20 minutes left to play.
That is not something I would like if I'm Joe Mazzulla. I would actually not do that, as this is a step back for Jaylen Brown, and that was way too strong off the window. And this will go now here for Embiid. But a heat check there for Jalen, as the chance off the screen will be Harden against Horford. And if I'm Harden on this, I know he passed this up a couple times. You got to attack Al Horford here. Draws the foul. He does exactly that. He's going to go to the line to shoot 2. 6:52 left to go in this third. It's still a 14-point game, but not for long, as we're getting very extended looks at the NBA on TNT side of it, the replays. They're showing all these drives to the rim, and I'm not really sure what they're showing against Marcus Smart, but I think maybe he injured something in the chest from Tobias Harris contacting game 1.
Laying it on if the viewers want it, like blame on it head or back, lower high back, not lower, but his high back. I think that big 250-pound MVP landed right on him. I feel like most people that would hurt.
It seems like now Harden missed another free throw. Seems like right now we have a chest protector here on Marcus Smart. That's what they were referencing.
They added this within the last 2 years, John. I mean, we've always talked about medical preserving, careers. We hate regression. Always want,
right.
Progression. So even older players, they're still impactful. You can see players like B.J. Tucker and Todd Gibson had played to their late 40s. Tatum having a deep shot, missing it. Tucker, even though he deflects it, what I like about Tucker is he does bring that.
So now if we lost you for a second, I got you back. It's Grant Williams now off the jump stop, and it'll be Derek White. And he was alone for 3. That was the wrong coverage there. 71-55. Boston out in front. And the Sixers, they've gone ice cold. They got 1 point in the last 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So who's going to jumpstart it here? Harden now. He'll step back, miss it off the front of the rim. Boy, has he had a very poor shooting game for James. And again, he shot a lot in the first game, but he's able to get to the line. But now Tatum with his 4 fouls. It's down to 12 seconds. Partially blocked by Embiid. I don't think he's getting credit for it. Horford, another 3 way off. Again, he's 1 for 7 from 3. But Boston's still up 71-55 as it's Maxey. He's got it at the Celtics logo. Down to 12 seconds now. We'll get the screen from Embiid. Maxey with the floater off the front of the rim and just kissed it off the glass. But this will be picked up by Horford. And now Derek White in full flight. It's going to fall right back to him, and he's going to lay it in. 73-55 Boston.
We were talking about it. Williams, was it worth adding to the rotation in this game? And it's been a smart play by Mazzulla. Not always a fan favorite, but makes the right plays. Derek White, of course, has been the best player on the Celtics besides our stars. He's been a breath of fresh air. And as we're going into commercial break, Celtics by 18.
Yeah, this is a far cry from game one. Again, sometimes you get that on the basketball side. There are a lot more wild momentum swings than compared to other sports, but I think this is certainly going to be the response. Not only that the Celtics fans want just to get a win, but if they can get kind of a blowout win here on the other side, it would feel a lot different because the first game, as we talked about, that was very close. It was 119, 115. So far, this one's not been very close at all.
But I will say, we're still, in this commercial break, the Celtics have, you rank, where we at now? We got 16 teams. We got 8 teams left.
Yeah, we got half the field.
Yep, half the field now. The Celtics are probably in that 6 to 8 range of the worst defensive-oriented teams. I know BR got great players. Jaylen Brown, one of the best. Robert Williams, I think the best. I have to look at the stats, but he's up there with Jared Jackson and Joel Embiid as the best players on defensive PER. Not trying to bring up spectrum sports for stats, but
he's the rim protector that the Celtics are going to count on.
Well, right. But the problem is, this is a team that can give up a lead. So there might still be 14-ish, 16 minutes left to go. Celtics could easily give up an 8-0 run. They've already gave up 2 straight 6-0 runs back-to-back quarters. So they had a 6-0 run and an 8-0 run, I believe, so far in Philly. So this game can be, instantly a 4 to 8 point game within 2 minutes. Can the Celtics hold on? Can they continue to score? Because if you have a lead like this, you don't have to be perfect. But this is when you go to your big guys. There's no big guy on the Celtics getting interior plays. So it's Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum. Layups, free throws. Not saying this, but this is how we would play. We would look at it like, hey, this is what we need to do. No more three-pointers. Efficient shots.
Yeah, you're essentially what you're telling all of us on that side, and I agree with you to an extent of that, like getting an easy basket. Who can you dump it to on the ins? Well, if you're the Celtics, you're not going to do that because
efficient shots.
Right.
For the next 6 to 8 minutes.
Essentially, that's what the 76ers have with Embiid as an option. I mean, I get that. But on this side, my only rebuttal to your argument is this in the sense of, well, it seems like Philadelphia is not playing with that same pace, and I knew we wouldn't because they're inserting Embiid. And I'm not saying that Embiid's going to make them worse. Far from that. But I think there's a little bit of transition period here. We're feeling that right now. And if Harden continues to shoot the way that he's shooting, I don't see any way, unless they continue to let him go back to the line, that this will flip. But we will see if you're going to be correct. Right now, I'm not seeing it. As it's Tyrese Maxey here for Harris. Look at the jump in the air and Embiid. He could have taken that easy layup, and this will be moved back to Maxey. Now Harris, he's going to get a wide open mid-range chance. So that was good ball movement. I thought Embiid was going to take the initial one. He took the extra as Doc Rivers claps his hands, and that was just worked all the way around the horn rather beautifully. As Tobias Harris is 11 points on 5 of 10 from 1 of 4 from 3. But let me just throw this in mind that Nick knows his team a lot better than I do. I don't cover as many NBA games anymore, although I'm still following it along. I'm going to listen to the Celtics expert as this is wrapped up for Jaylen Brown. This is too strong off the front of the rim. And it's a chance for PJ Tucker to clean up the mess for about 4:30 left to go in the third. It's Harden. Off the step back, get a screen from Embiid, and that was a blown defensive assignment there for Grant Williams. He kind of looked like he was in another continent right there. He was nowhere near the rim. It's now 73-60 as Grant Williams and Brogdon will get a chance to bring this up the timeline. And now Brogdon right wing side here for Derek White. Thought about the three. He's going to beat him. He will step back. Now down to 5 seconds. Derek White going to take the three. And my goodness, he's going to knock it down. 76-60. As Marcus Smart is on the bench, he is nursing a elbow. It looks like in part of the abdomen side where he's got the chest plate. It's 76-60. It's a 16-point lead for Boston. John Underwood alongside Nick Edwards between play-by-play and color respectively, as it's a chance for Maxey and toward Harris. Shot clock down to 2. It's Embiid. Off the jump stop. Just got it off in time. Just as the shot clock expired, 76-62. Embiid's looked pretty good considering even the minutes restriction. I understand the pace of play, but can't really blame the MVP, especially when he's got 5 blocks. Harden's got to definitely shoot this basketball a little bit better. It's a chance now for Derek White and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown gets all the way down the lane. This gets defended by Embiid, picked up by Al Horford, and he finishes an easy one. 78-62 with 2:55 left in the third. So it'll be Harden. 14-6 are these second chance points. Harden with the screen from Embiid. Extra pass here for Tucker. Pump fake to get to the mid-range. And this is just caught by Tyrese where it goes out of bounds. Right wing 3. Too strong off the front of the rim. And this is corralled by Al Horford. He'll race this up the timeline. We'll drop it across for Brown. Off the jump stop, trying to get around Embiid again. And now here's an extra pass for Brogdon. My goodness, has he been locked in? A 19-point lead. It's 81-62. Here's a steal. White down the lane. Acrobatic finish. 83-62. Timeout, Doc Rivers. 2:19 left to go in this third, and the Celtics continue to pour it on. So now that was certainly a run that the Celtics fans are wanting. They're all over this third quarter right now. 26-13. They've doubled up Philadelphia. It's even scoring right now for Philadelphia. Harris has 11, Embiid has 17, Maxey 13, Harden 12. But their shot selection in the sense of it, they shot pretty good, above 50%. They're at 40 right now, and the three-point is dreadful for Philadelphia. It's 3 of 19. Looking at the other way, the Celtics 12 of 32, and they're shooting a little bit less, as you can imagine, not 58%, but their defense has been a heck of a lot better. 25 points for Brown. He's the leading scorer of everybody, 9 of 17, 3 of 6, 4 of 4. And Tatum, again, he's got 7 points, 3 fouls, 19 minutes. But the Celtics are all over Philadelphia right now. So Reggie Miller has just shown this. I was wondering in the previous basket for Embiid whether or not that one was going to count. They counted that as a 24-second shot clock violation. Didn't get it off in time. So the Celtics score didn't change, but the Philadelphia score did. So now it's a 23-point lead for Boston. 2:10 left to go in this third. Again, John Underwood in the play-by-play. It's game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals being drawn by Nick Edwards. As this is flipped, and this is short. And now Harden almost runs into Reed. He wanted the foul. This could be a fast break opportunity. Brogdon, 3 again. And he is absolutely dialed in. 86-60. And now Harris. A chance for George Niang. Too strong up the front of the rim. Paul Reed. He got blocked by Williams. Harris walking to a 3. And that was mercifully canned by Philadelphia. They need points. They're down 86-63. It's been all C's with 125 in the third. Now Brown. Step back against Niang. Gets the half screen. Switch on Harris. Spin. Step back. Lost the dribble. Got to give it back up now to Brogdon. Shot clock down to 5. Maybe we'll try to shoot this in Niang's eye. As it's sent across Grant Williams for 3. He knocks it down. Nobody in sight. And Boston just continues to stroke the 3 ball. They're looking even better than the Golden State Warriors at that Magic Act. They're 6 of 12 from 3 in this quarter alone. As it's Harden. He gets it knocked away by Derek White. Good defense. And now Boston with it again. Brogdon, right way 3. Brogdon again. 92-63. 45 seconds in the third. Boston absolutely destroying the Philadelphia 76ers here in game 2. Chance for Harris down the lane. Good defense by Williams. but Harris does answer. But this is getting brutal on the other end. Brogdon has it on the right wing side, puts his head down, gets to the lane, he draws the foul. 30 seconds left in the third.
This has been unreal. I went to the bathroom. I was gone for 4 minutes. The Celtics went from an 18-point lead to a 27-point lead.
He is not wrong, folks. It was 2 3-pointers for Brogdon or 3-pointer for Grant Williams. They just went nuts from distance. That was his.
Smart is checking in here. Looks like I'm going to line up. They're not in the bonus yet with the on the court foul.
Yes, it was. Brogdon too strong on the front court for 3. This is the last shot of the quarter for Philadelphia. But Boston has opened up the can on the Sixers. It's a 35-16 quarter. Shot clock turned off. Maxey try to get down the lane. Beautiful block by Williams. Got time to get it off. Brogdon half court missed it up in front of the rim. But what a quarter for the C's. 35-16. They close it to the utter elation at TD Garden. This is a absolute housing of the Sixers as we go to the fourth quarter. So we can essentially now put these numbers up for Boston Celtics. They are 15 of 37 from deep. They are not afraid to let this go at 40%, and the Sixers are just 4 of 21. You want to talk about your biggest difference of the game. That is that in a nutshell. So I will give you a reset here as far as Carolina and New Jersey as we're into a commercial break. We're going to get into the fourth quarter. Again, it was finished off rather easily by Carolina. They scored 2 more in the third. Nathan Bastian got the 1 goal for New Jersey, but it was Brady Shea on the defensive side with his first from Sebastian Aho and Stefan Nason, and then Jesper Fast in the empty net from Jordan Martinook and Stahl. 5-1 winners here for Carolina over New Jersey in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis. Again, winner of that series, again in the best of 7, will face the winner of the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that will get set to go about 7:15 Eastern tomorrow. Florida already up 1-0, and they've already knocked out the best team in the regular season in the Boston Bruins. They had to get high just to get in. So the game that will be getting underway about 9:55 Eastern, it looks like, is Edmonton and Vegas. I think that will be the late thing that I watch once I type up this game story alongside Nick Edwards. And then tomorrow will be an off day for me with the fiance. I think on Thursday. I think the next time Nick and I might check back into it will be a Saturday side if he's available for the Lakers and the Warriors. I think that will be Game 3 at Crypto.
We'll see, boy, Anthony viewers, if you enjoy the broadcast, we'll see if he's available late tomorrow night. Maybe I can do the Lakers Nuggets, Lakers Warriors. But Saturday would be the next time you would catch back in with us, probably.
Saturday.
This has been probably our best broadcast. There's some jokes, but also the game has been crazy.
Yeah, it has. I mean, for any reservations that I know that when you talk to me about this, because again, between playing some games, talking sports, and all other stuff like that, you were very nervous going into this game. You made no bones about it. You told me exactly how you felt.
Very scared. Told everyone that asked me, everyone texted me. They were like, if they knew Celtics, what? Oh, let's go. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Start it again. Right.
No, you're good. No, I understand. I know you're very nervous about it, but
people were messing with me. My brothers, my friends. Even you last night, you kind of were saying, "Oh, they want to win tomorrow. They got to win tomorrow." Everyone was against it. I'm trying to call this game clean. I'm a fan of basketball. However, that third quarter to have a plus 19 quarter, huge for the Celtics.
Absolutely.
The Warriors have 2 really great runs. They can't do that. They're losing by almost 30 points. So Malcolm Brogdon, Jaylen Brown, Harden. Unbelievable night. We're back to action.
So
Only about 11:30 left.
it's Maxey now with a floater. That one is just up the front of the rim, and it's a Peyton Pritchard sighting. And you imagine you might see that a little bit because of the score line. So Joe Mazzulla will go deep into the bench, at least a little bit. As it's a chance now for Brogdon. Boy, has he been great in this game. Draw the foul against Reed. That'll be his third. Still a 92-65 lead for the Bees here. They want to be able to even this up. And again, if you're a fan of the city of Boston, you didn't expect the Boston Bruins to go down, so the Celtics will
Definitely
be the
did.
lone hope here for a championship, as this is Marcus Smart. Doesn't take the three, gets down the lane, a chance for Williams. They walk right into a three, and my goodness gracious, 30-point lead for Boston.
There's nothing better. Seeing great basketball movement. They have 4 touch passes. I'm a little surprised that Grant Williams is actually in the rotation alongside Peyton Pritchard. Like you said, having a lead like this, great experience, playoff for them. Also, they both get a paycheck now. So happy for them.
You got to feel good on that side. Grant Williams missed his second opportunity for three, but Robert Williams was the one that cleaned up the mess. And the three the other way was way off as it kissed up the backboard. And now that's Boston.
Grant, sit down a little bit.
It's a chance now for Smart. Off the spin. I think he tried to lob that one to Robert Williams. Picks it back up. And now Grant off the pump. There's a chance on the other end for Brogdon. And Boston's hit the century mark. It's 100-68.
This is a lineup I never thought I would see entering the fourth quarter of the second round. No starters besides maybe Marcus Smart, if you want to call him a starter. But this is a Brogdon being 32-point lead here. Going with a high pick roll is smart. However, I will ask you, where's James Harden? Where's Joel Embiid? Where's Tobias Harris?
This might be the game, Nick, considering the score line that they just take the L and give them as much rest as possible as Smart misses the three. What say you?
I would agree on that. It's smart. Because let's be honest, if we were, let's say we're the Philly managers, let's just take one. Now they have 2 games at home, their arena, their bed, all that.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, they already accomplished, for as bad as this game looks, what they set out to do. As Niang hits the leading three, and now 100-71. Last 14 times the road team won game 1, the home team won game 2 to tie the series. That's courtesy of the NBA and TNT stat lines underdog. Thank you for that. As this is recollected by Williams. He's going to shoot the three, and Grant Williams feeling himself. He's going to chance to get a lot of shots. But this is picked up now for Jaden McDaniels. And now McDaniels from George Niang, and now Reed. Again, this is going to go deep into the bench. I have to make sure I got all my names on top of this, as it's Shake Melton. Sent across here for Niang. And now this will be played in around the back. Good defense by the Celtics. And shot clock will stay with the Sixers, but it's just 0.6 left to go. As I believe it's Jaden Springer. I did type out all the names.
I think it is Springer. Yep.
He is going to get a chance to play in this game. And why not, I guess?
I haven't seen Jaden Springer since Summer League, if I'm correct. So,
You're making me think of the Toronto Blue Jay George Springer. When I see a name like that, I'm not familiar with Jaden Springer.
number 11, decent perimeter player, probably better at the interior finisher at this point. I think Doc is simply, kind of accepted, we lost this game. Let's get the guys up there. Let's get them some, playoff experience. The crowd obviously is not leaving. Let them feel the moment. That's good coaching. I don't think you're not plus 30, plus 30 in a quarter. So.
Well, we can say this.
Clearly kind of have this game.
it certainly seems that way as the clock continues to go down here. And when you have Tatum with 7 points and 4 fouls, and you're Boston, you're up 100-71. I mean, you take that all day long.
7 points. He's going to sit probably the rest of the game unless something frantic happens. I think if you're a betting fan, I think Tatum's going to drop 45 in game 3. Yeah, that's one of those games. You know, he had a bad game, he still won. He obviously wants to make an impact. Look at Harden, obviously Harden, Tucker, they're talking. Embiid's not even there.
Right. Yeah, this
is the Malcolm Brogdon court.
This is a chance right now, as you said, especially off the bench. We have 22 points and 6 of 10 from 3 and 50% shooting. Got a chance for 2 free throws. You missed the first. Got a chance to get 23 points though. But look at it, as we said, and between the Sixers, you accomplished the job. You had a chance to get everyone else to get their rest, and especially if you're the Celtics too, you did what you needed to do. And this back end of this game is essentially going to be bench minutes. So all of your starters should be very fresh going into game 3. And if you're Boston, right. Yeah, this is very fresh going into Wells Fargo. And you think they have a really good chance, even in Philadelphia, they could take this game too and take command of the series. They got surprised in game 1, but it wasn't a blowout. They just didn't take care of the ball well enough. There was a couple things they needed to clean up. But this is a divisive win on the other end as Reed will finish it off. It's now 101-73, and all that's really left here is just to call the rest of this game. This should be lights out. I mean, this game's been over since that run, since Nick had to step away for a couple minutes. All of a sudden, it was just an explosion, as it's now a chance for Pritchard. Missed it off the front of the rim too strong. And I hope I didn't see a Luke Cornett sighting, because I think I might have got that one incorrect. But I think that was...
I'm hoping not. That is Sam Hauser.
Sam Hauser. Thank you. Because when
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's going on?
Not much. I'm a pretty big Celtics fan. Pretty pumped, obviously.
We have some good questions for you.
Yeah. Yep. Ask them why. No email questions, so won't allow that. Terrible.
I agree. We're trying to make it safe.
Oh man, yeah.
Any public, issues.
Yeah. But honestly, game 1. Yeah, game 1. I feel. Am I allowed to talk? I don't know. You guys are
Go ahead.
podcasting or hosting.
No, go ahead. It's in commercial break.
So I was gonna say game 1. I'm gonna sound the casual. I feel like we weren't prepared for Embiid not to play, even though the report said he was doubtful. I've seen a statistic where I'm not sure where it was source-wise, but it stated even though Embiid was listed as doubtful or questionable, he played almost 50-something% of the time. So it's just, we were thinking, are the Sixers playing mind games on us? I feel like we thought too hard on that, but going 1-1.
Do you think it's the lack of inexperience? Or do you think it's simply they just thought it would be an easy win without Embiid?
Well, relatively when Embiid does play, we do tend to fare well against him. But
right, that's what I was thinking early in the beginning of the broadcast.
Yeah.
Just jumped in or not. So I thought the Celtics would win this game even with Embiid. Because Philly, because you saw what happened. What was it, John? 38 jump shots.
Yeah.
That's incredible for Jaylen. 54 combined with Maxey and Harden in game 1. You could win that way. Can you win that way with, Embiid?
Yeah.
Part of that offense. What's your first name? I don't want to go to Jalen.
Sorry?
What's your first name?
My name's Dan.
Dan? Yeah. Okay, so Dan. After this game, clearly the Celtics probably are taking this.
Yeah.
The Celtics, you were saying you were a big fan of the Celtics. 2 games in Philly. You play this when it's like, okay, we just kind of want to, we win game 3, game 4, tie it up. Like, so, they want to steal one game, right?
Right.
Obviously, they did a great job. Philly played better in the first two games. Right. First half of them. They tied it up in home court advantage. Or we play ultra aggressive. Tatum, 30 shots. Brown, what do you think? I think they play aggressive, try to win one, or do they win both?
So here's my prediction for the next, how many games the series goes. We win this game tonight, barring any, epic collapse. My prediction is Game 3 or Game 4 we steal. So I say Game 3, the Celtics steal that.
I would agree on that.
But Game 4, the Sixers say we're not going to let them, sweep home court advantage here. So
you would expect that, right?
So I say it's going to be 2-2 tied going into Boston. Game 5, we take that. 3-2. Right into the Sixers, then Game 6, I think we take it. It doesn't go 7.
We should have named the whole broadcast. Where you been? Great broadcast. We can call the whole game.
Yeah, I
I would agree. I'm a Celtics fan myself, but I love basketball more. Right now, like that more of that.
Yep.
But you have great insight, man.
Oh yeah,
Point with that. As a Celtics fan, what's the difference between? Because we were talking about this. What's the difference between? Because John, you cool with this?
Yeah.
Obviously, this game, we got bench liners. What's the difference between this team that played against Golden State in the finals?
Yes.
And what's the difference between this team? And we could talk about Malcolm Brogdon, but give me anything besides Malcolm Brogdon.
Okay. Obviously, I don't want to say it's Ime, but he, did have some sort of impact on the Celtics to go all the way to the finals. As you remember last year, we won against the Heat. That was incredibly tough. 99% of that three-pointer by Jimmy Butler in Miami, Game 7, that would just, it's the end. And Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. So, kudos to him, of course, but I think that the main difference between last year's and this year's Celtics, I want to say that the Jays are more. Yeah, I have no idea what that was, man. That was remote.
Yeah, I was trying to beat.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, we got like,
yeah, so
let's meet all these people.
This is. Hey, John, can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
There we go.
Yeah, so I was just going to say,
Your host.
Yeah, I was just going to say I have no idea what the difference is. I could ask it to, to the floor, to these, gentlemen in this, live chat here. Spaces. I don't know. I don't know the difference.
What was the question?
The question was, what was the main difference between this year's Celtics and last year's Celtics?
The Warriors, right? You
Oh.
never answered it. You never.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Malcolm Brogdon. I'm a big Celtics fan. I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm a Celtics fan too, obviously. So we can have these kind of personal conversations. We want them to win at the end of the night, but the only thing I can really think of, maybe John, you can think of the difference between this team when we lost against Golden State 6 and this team that we just beat the Sixers on. Besides Malcolm Brogdon, if one of you give me anything, and because I can't. Malcolm Brogdon's huge, but is one enough? That's
Well,
my question.
I mean, the other side of it, when you think about it, is Boston's continuing to rattle it on. It's 112-79. If they had a healthy Robert Williams, that might have been the difference there on the other side. I'm not seeing any difference between. Yeah, I'm not seeing any difference between right now between Boston and not besides Brogdon, as you said, but that might have been the difference on that end. I don't even think this roster is it's the same thing with the exception of Brogdon. You've seen health on that end, as Luke Cornett was able to finish off 114-81. Again, we have a little bit of alarm bells on that one. It was getting a little nuts on that side, so I'll make sure that I do a little edit on that end. But 3 minutes.
That was fun.
That was fun. No, he did a good job on that side of it. So Melton will send this back across. This will be a bounce pass as it gets picked off. Dwayne Dedman sighting, as this is Hauser now across for Pritchard. Yeah, it was Dwayne Dedman. This is against Korkmaz now and Pritchard off the step back. Pritchard doesn't take it. And now this is the other way, and this one is missed by the Celtics. I'll make sure that I get that number correct. Justin Champagne was the one that took the shot. So I'm glad I did write down all the names because we're going real deep in the bench as this is turned over. Yeah, so you got to be happy with everything else you saw on that side, Nick, because 114-81. Go to a commercial break, 2:28 left, and this one is all but over.
Hello, guys.
What's going on?
I'm good. Can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Give it to us, man.
Do you think Phoenix can do it against Denver?
Good question. Can you repeat the question? Because I think one of our we're recording this. Can you say the question one more time? That was a good question.
Sorry?
Can you say it one more time? No, we know what you're saying, but we just want to be able to record it.
Do you think Suns can do it?
Against Phoenix?
Yeah.
Or Phoenix can do it against Denver?
No, Denver. Yeah. I guess you can check.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this: as far as it's a 2-0 in the series, if Phoenix doesn't win this next game, they're done. We can pretty much put it that way. But it's it's hard to believe, but you have to really go out there and say Durant's got to step up a little bit there. Can't just be the Devin Booker experience. So that's got to get better. But the only thing that I don't think the Suns have the answer for on that side, B, for the question is, how do you stop Jokic? I don't think they can do that. They're going to need to get more from Durant and more from Ayton.
Yes, it's true. How can you? And you, Nick, what do you think?
The tough one. Because deep down, it's hard for me to not think that a talented starting five, let's think about this. Obviously, Chris Paul's not a part of it. But let's be honest for a second. Cameron Payne was better than Chris Paul when you look at everything. So let's say Payne, Booker, Durant, Craig, Eaton. That's better than Denver. It's hard for me not to say that there's no chance. No, I'm gonna let you go. Let me just go. Yeah, you're up. But the issue with me is I still think Denver's gonna win. The problem it's just too much for them. That's a great question.
Do you think Ayton is too bad?
Who?
Ayton.
No, I don't think he's bad at all. But I need you to understand this. There's a difference between DeAndre Ayton and Nikola Jokic. There's 30 to 40 pounds difference. There's about 2-inch difference. There's a huge skill difference. So that's a complete advantage for Denver. When you can have, and I'm sure have you played basketball before? Did you play basketball?
Me or John?
No, you.
No, I just.
What's your first name? No, what's your first name? Okay, V. Can I call you V?
Yeah.
Okay, V. So V. What I'm saying is, when you're playing like this, size is huge. Equal size is fine. So if you have players between a 6'4" and 6'8" frame, you can probably guard them. That's why Marcus Smart's great. That's why, Keegan Murray is relevant. All these guys are great. But when you have a great player like Jaylen, that's why the Celtics are running this too big lineup. So it's hard in general to run that. The Suns have that issue. Because Kevin Durant and John, when you jump in, you can't make some sense. But Kevin Durant has always been a small forward. That's been my only critique. You can even say that. He's 6'11", but he plays like he's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, I mean, he's had the games where you can get 3-4 blocks here and there, but he's not going to be a guy that even if you position him as a 4 or 5. No. And Aiden doesn't have a prayer on earth against Jokic, and that's not his fault. You're going to get schooled in that matchup. The one thing that Aiden can do is shoot a 10, 12 footer, but Jokic has all that stuff covered, and Aiden doesn't have the foot speed. Even though Jokic is nowhere near the fastest player on the court, Aiden can't match up on that side either as far as taking advantage of it. So there really is no way that Phoenix can win that matchup, so they have to get more from Durant. I know Chris Paul's injured, and again, unfortunately for him, that's always going to be the knock on him. But they need Durant, and they need Aiden, and Aiden's probably going to get canceled out. So if Durant can't carry, they're probably losing.
Make sure you follow us back so you can join our next broadcast. But I want you the whole broadcast because you're so smart on some of this stuff. The one question I can ask for you is, I have two questions. I have a front question and a broadcast question. What's your favorite team? So
I don't know. I don't have. I just watch.
So you enjoy basketball? You want to win games?
Yeah.
I love it. Oh yeah, we agree. Yeah, that's awesome. Keep going, yeah. But what I was saying was, who's your better question on the end? Who's your favorite player or team?
I like Luka Doncic.
Yep.
I like Giannis and
where are you from?
I'm from Kuwait.
That's very cool. That's it.
Wow. This has been our best fan interaction. That's awesome.
Yeah, one.
Here in my country, I don't know why people support Lakers. Most of people you can see many Lakers fans here.
Your English is amazing. Is that your native language, or did you? Sorry. Did you learn English, or was that your native language there?
No, I learned spaces to teach me.
Wow. John, do you want to invite this viewer? I've been invited. They've been requested.
It's funny. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. I'm not going to, because this game's already over, so I'm being more lenient on it. This is a floating shot on the other end for Sam Hauser is made at 121.85 with 45 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Maz will take the three now. This goes up in front of the rim. I'm just going to call this final minute. Then we'll give you the final score and wrap this all up on that side, as it's a chance for Peyton Pritchard in between the legs. And this pass gets deflected. This goes off the Celtics, and it'll be last possession time essentially for both. And when Boston touches this basketball again, it's going to be a victory, and they'll be able to dribble this out. Philadelphia is not even going to get to 90 points in today's game.
I just have another question. You mentioned Jokic. Do you think Nikola Jokic is there?
You can make.
But just I want to mention something. You remember when Mr. Brown when he got the MVP, like in 2017?
Yes.
He deserved it that year.
They gave me that because he triple double. This year they got Jokic Jokic has the most triple double. I don't know what I understand. I don't understand what's happening.
John, you have to go first because I'm going to take passionate response. I have a lot of questions to ask you, but John will give you a better, realistic response.
Let me just do this here for the last 3.4. So we're going to dribble this out. Boston is going to take a 1-1 series tie from Philadelphia. And that's your final score. The Boston Celtics, they even up this thing at TD Garden in the Eastern Conference semis. They take a dominating 121-87 victory against Philadelphia. They take them right out the court, and we will see what happens in Game 3. So as far as your question here, V, I'll just throw this out on the side of it. We've had this conversation before, and I know it probably extends back to somebody like Kobe, who's only got one MVP on that side. But sometimes I just happen to think that there's voter fatigue. I'm not saying Joel Embiid didn't deserve it. This is by far and away the best season Embiid's ever had. And considering that's probably the best numbers he's ever going to get, he won the MVP. Otherwise, Jokic would have had 3 in a row. So I'm going to go ahead and say a little bit of voter fatigue. I don't have any problem with it. But if we were just being honest with ourselves, yeah, Jokic would have took his 3rd straight.
And your answer, Nick?
My MVP is different. John, are we?
I closed it. You can keep this open if you want. I'm good.
Hey, can I say something, man?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear. Can you give your first name now?
No, my first name is Substitute. My name is Dave.
Slow down. No.
I'll just be on all these sports talk shows. And
I just want to be able to address you with a respectful name. You have an initial.
Oh, David. I thought
David. Okay.
All right, look, I be on all these sports shows, and I just really want to why everybody say Bron is the GOAT, like the greatest of all time, and you don't even got a go-to move by him. Like everybody get these excuses of why he lost all these times, but still claim he the GOAT.